Hey guys, Dr. Travis here for this week's episode of Your Weekly Checkup with Dr. Travis, where we told you last week we are focusing on a 4-part series on how we can help the ladies in our life, or if you are a female watching this, we're going to talk about the most trending topics in regards to you and give you our take on them, our input, and try to help you through this thing called life. So, last week we talked about self-care. This week we're going to kind of spin off of that a little bit. A lot of the management of the thing we're going to talk about today is very similar to last week. But what you'll start to see is a common trend or a common theme. And if you're a patient in our office or you interact with us regularly, you realize that there's really some key principles to really kicking butt in life. And so we might sound a little redundant, but you might need to hear it a few times in order to take some action. So this week, one of the biggest things we've noticed over the past now year and 3 months is the increase in the amount of cases of anxiety or inability to handle stress, whichever way you want to call it, but let's just call it anxiety because that's really what it is. But we've noticed that pretty much every single person that we've met, new person that we've met over the course of the last 14 months, has been challenged or dealing with anxiety. And so this week we want to give you a few tips, or really just kind of bring attention to the fact that you're not alone, because I'm probably talking to you right now. About 50% of the population, of the adult population, okay, reported over the last year having symptoms of anxiety, okay? Only about 25% actually did anything as far as like trying to manage it or trying to go to get some help, but about 50% of us as adults have felt it. And one of the biggest components of anxiety is your inability to see the future or to see what's coming next. So it's very common in children, looks a little different. The most recent stat I think I saw in children was about 33% of kids suffer from anxiety type symptoms. It may have grown over the last year, but there's no updated statistic on that one. But one of the biggest challenges is the inability to see or to predict the future. Most of us know prior to 2020 on a given day pretty much what to expect out of our day. Pretty routine. We kind of knew what we were going to do this weekend. We kind of knew what the family gatherings were going to look like. We knew what travel was going to look like. But now we don't know any of that. We don't know what's going on tomorrow. We don't know what's happening. You know, you watch the news, and the biggest thing you probably have thought yourself over the past few months is, I'm not even sure what to believe, or I don't even know what to believe anymore, because we have so many differing opinions. But the fact of the matter is, our ability to manage or handle stress directly correlates to anxiety and our ability to conquer anxiety. And so much like we talked about last week, when we're dealing with anxiety, we really need to make sure that our self-care is on the top of our list of things. So we talked about getting adjusted, eating well, moving, exercising. All those things carry over, okay? I'm going to put a link in here for a download to get you some more resources and more information. Maybe even some supplements we could get you. If you want some information, just respond to that, those emails you get with that download, and we can hook you up with some supplement recommendations. But we got to have the nervous system checked. We got to have the nervous system functioning on all cylinders. So definitely having a good relationship with your chiropractor through these times is very important. But really figuring out a way that you can start to predict or understand what's coming next. So make a loosely structured schedule and really try to help yourself plan out your week as much as you can. There are going to be things that always happen that are out of your control, but try to control the controllables. And if you can do that, that's your first big step into successfully managing anxiety and inability to handle stress. There's a whole nother chapter, right? We got to take stock of the stress. We got to start to minimize the stress. We got to start to get rid of the crappy stress, because some stress is just going to exist. But for today's purposes, step 1, get adjusted. Step 2, control the controllables. Step 3, do what I talked about last week. Make sure that your self-care is on point. Man, I am way over my 3 minutes again this week, but I think it was a great one. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week on your weekly checkup with Dr. Travis.